także ja zaraz włączam wstęp, także transmituj na żywo. Pod tym linkiem, który Wam wkleiłam teraz, już uruchamia się transmisja na YouTubie na żywo, także wszystko działa. Teraz już będzie można sobie spokojnie odtworzyć tą dzisiejszą transmisję od razu po zakończeniu. Ja ten link też pozostawię, także nie ma, że tutaj coś znika, że coś tracimy, tylko po prostu gdyby w razie czego ktoś musiał uciekać, coś się zadziało albo coś ominiecie, to nagranie z dzisiejszego spotkania zostaje. Co będziemy dzisiaj robić? Słuchajcie, tak jak mówiłam w mailach, dla tych osób, które oglądają nas na YouTubie, będę wklejała tutaj link, żeby też takie maile dostawać w razie czego przypomnienia czy informacje. Także tak jak pisałam w mailu, ja w zeszłym roku byłam na takim szkoleniu finansowym po angielsku z Ann Wilson i kontynuując tutaj trochę tak w duchu polecania moich mentorów, z którymi ja pracuję, z których wiedzy czerpię i korzystam. Jest ich dużo więcej, ale najchętniej polecam tych, którzy zrobili w moim biznesie, w moim życiu też prywatnym największą różnicę. To dam sobie jako punkt honoru, że będę po prostu tu takie osoby polecała. Robię to w duchu tego, co normalnie robię w moich płatnych mastermindach. To są takie formaty półroczne, gdzie raz na 2 tygodnie spotykamy się przez 2 godziny, dyskutujemy o swoich biznesach w troszkę bardziej kameralnych grupach. Zazwyczaj to są grupy maksymalnie 5 osób plus ja, która prowadzę, czasami 4 osób plus ja, która prowadzę. Tutaj mignęła mi Wanda na czacie, więc w razie jak chcecie coś dopytać, to śmiało możecie. Wanda jest w takiej grupie, więc jakby wie, z czym to się je, ale ja dzisiaj nie o tym, żeby Wam sprzedawać i opowiadać, tylko pokazać kontekst, że właśnie jakby w tym kontekście ta dzisiejsza dyskusja. W takich momentach, kiedy ja sama rekrutuję do moich grup mastermindowych, tak jak teraz w styczniu, na koniec stycznia ruszą kolejne grupy, ja otwieram takie dyskusje szerszemu gronu, to są wtedy takie dyskusje bardziej otwarte. I podobnie jak w moich mastermindach, one bardzo często toczą się wokół polecenia różnych szkoleń od moich mentorów. Mam świadomość, że nie wszyscy inwestują w programy i wchodzą do takich dosyć kosztownych programów międzynarodowych, ale za każdym razem, kiedy te osoby, z którymi pracuję w takich programach, robią jakieś szkolenia bezpłatne, czyli mogę się podzielić i Was to po prostu nic nie kosztuje, to jest tylko kwestia gdzieś tam sobie zobaczyć i skorzystać, to po prostu właśnie udostępniam takie szkolenia. W zeszłym właściwie tygodniu i miesiącu dzieliłam się moją mentorką Sigrun, z którą jestem już właściwie od 2017 roku, która pomaga mi właściwie budować taki model biznesu online skalowalny, coraz większy, czyli pomaga mi po prostu dobrze zarabiać. Natomiast dzisiaj będziemy rozmawiać o mojej mentorce Ann Wilson, która tak naprawdę pomaga mi w drugiej kwestii, jak to zrobić, że kiedy już zarabiasz, żeby te pieniądze się nie rozchodziły, nie przeciekały gdzieś przez palce i też jak to zrobić, żeby nie skupiać się ciągle na tym, żeby więcej zarabiać, tylko na tym, jak pomnażać to, co już mamy. Też na takim patrzeniu na te finanse właśnie przez pryzmat fachowej wiedzy i tego, jak mądrze tym zarządzić, bardziej niż właśnie naszych obaw, przekonań albo właśnie takiego braku wiedzy i podejmowania decyzji z punktu, gdzie nie bardzo się znamy, więc coś nam nie wychodzi, uczymy się kosztownie na naszych błędach. Także w zeszłym roku ja byłam na takim szkoleniu, które właśnie tutaj mailowo Wam polecałam, u Ann Wilson. To jest takie szkolenie, które jest serią krótszych i dłuższych spotkań. Ta seria wygląda dosłownie tak jak w tym roku, dlatego w tym roku ją polecam, bo wiem, co to jest, oglądałam w tym roku, zresztą też oglądam i nie mogę się nadziwić, jak zupełnie inaczej też głębiej rozumiem te treści, także rozumiem, jak może to być duże i przytłaczające, ale z jednej strony rozumiem, jak sama się czułam podczas tego szkolenia, jak dużo rzeczy się dowiedziałam, jak zmieniłam swoje myślenie o finansach, dlatego właśnie polecałam te szkolenia, ponieważ wczoraj było pierwsze, dzisiaj będzie taki Q&A do tego pierwszego szkolenia, jutro znowu już będzie drugie, następnego dnia będzie Q&A do tego drugiego. W sumie mamy 4 szkolenia i one są rozłożone w takim rytmie szkolenie, później sesja Q&A, czyli takich pytań i odpowiedzi. Szkolenie, pytania, odpowiedzi, szkolenie, pytania, odpowiedzi, więc fajnie, bo od razu po szkoleniu następnego dnia można sobie przemyśleć, nadrobić, jak się nie obejrzało na żywo i przyjść, zadać pytanie, skonfrontować, jak to jest u Ciebie. W tym pierwszym szkoleniu, to też taki spoiler, słuchajcie, Ann dużo mówiła właśnie o takim koncepcie tego, że chcemy się w pewnym momencie swojego życia uwolnić od tego, że ciągle musimy zarabiać. I jak to zrobić? Mi się zawsze wydawało, że to jest kwestia zgromadzić wystarczająco dużo pieniędzy na kontach, tak? I później gdzieś tam w ramach emerytury można żyć z tego. W miarę jak zaczęłam trochę dojrzewać do pewnych rzeczy, zrozumiałam, że trzymanie gotówki na kontach, zwłaszcza w dzisiejszych czasach, no to wszyscy wiemy, co się dzieje z inflacją, tak? Jest to bardzo ryzykowne. Już trochę intuicyjnie wiedziałam, że no może jakieś nieruchomości, może jakieś mieszkanie, my też tu mamy takie drugie mieszkanie na wynajem w Poznaniu, więc już coś kumałam, że no nie gotówka, ale jakoś mądrze trzeba tymi finansami zarządzić, żeby właśnie się nie rozeszły, tylko budować takie bogactwo, które na starość, jak nie możemy pracować, wszyscy wiemy, jakie będziemy mieć emerytury prawdopodobnie, to żeby właśnie to nas utrzymywało. Natomiast na tym szkoleniu wybuchła mi czaszka, ponieważ Ann pokazała ten koncept tego, że my możemy osiągnąć taką niezależność finansową już dużo wcześniej, tylko że musimy wiedzieć, co to dla nas znaczy, jaka to jest cyfra i w jaki sposób chcemy zgromadzić tą odpowiednią cyfrę. I ten koncept, że tych pieniędzy nie gromadzimy jako żadnej gotówki, tylko to jest koncept budowania takiego portfolia zasobów, które trochę jak takie drzewa, które sadzimy, dają nam non-stop owoce. To nie jest tak, że nazbieramy tych jabłek do, wiecie, gdzieś tam do komórki i one nam zgniją po 2 latach, tak? Tylko chodzi o posadzenie drzew, które będą nam owocować i będą nas żywić po prostu latami. Czyli taki koncept właśnie budowania tej niezależności finansowej, pracując, kiedy możemy pracować, troszeczkę odklejając to od tego, jak dużo musimy zarabiać, a przyklejając to bardziej do tego, to ile my realnie potrzebujemy, żeby w pewnym momencie powiedzieć, ok, mam już dosyć, w tym momencie mogę przestać pracować, albo w ogóle pracuję, kiedy tylko chcę, bo ja już nie muszę, ja mogę, a nie muszę. Więc jakby w tym duchu będziemy się poruszać, jeżeli chodzi o nasze dyskusje. Słuchajcie, dla wszystkich, którzy są tutaj na YouTubie, ja dodałam link do Zooma, zachęcam Was, wskoczcie do nas, bo nie wiem, czy będę w stanie patrzeć na komentarze tu i tu, na pewno priorytet daję dla Zooma. Mówię o tym szkoleniu właśnie w tym kontekście, że właśnie to szkolenie, z którego ja skorzystałam i program, do którego weszłam jakby po tym szkoleniu, który nazywa się Financial Freedom University, czyli cały taki, wiecie, uniwersytet zdobywania właśnie takiej wiedzy finansowo-ekonomiczno, takiego budowania niezależności finansowej, tak ciężko mi to po polsku nazwać. Zaraz się przestawimy, słuchajcie, na angielski, będzie trochę łatwiej. Wszystkie te jakby rzeczy prowadzi Ann Wilson i ze względu na to, że w tym programie no dużo mamy takich spotkań, gdzie właśnie dyskutujemy sobie o pewnych konceptach, zadajemy pytania, coś tam sobie popracowaliśmy, my na przykład z mężem teraz zarządzamy tymi naszymi nieruchomościami, bawimy się trochę też w wynajem taki krótkoterminowy, tak? Pojawiają się pytania, które wynikają właśnie już z takiej praktyki. Chodzimy, mamy różne live'y i tam z Ann dyskutujemy, ona jeszcze doradza, jak to lepiej tam wycisnąć po prostu z tego lepsze środki. Jest to też taka okazja, żeby po prostu poznać się po ludzku, tak, pogadać, tak, trochę pożartować, więc uczenie się tych finansów, zdobywanie tej wiedzy, też otrzaskiwanie się z takim językiem, wiecie, jakichś kryptowalut, giełdy i całej reszty, która wydawała mi się w ogóle jakaś taka nie z tej ziemi i kosmos w ogóle nie dla mnie. Okazuje się, że można to robić w bardzo przyjemny sposób, też troszeczkę nawiązywać takie relacje, przyjaźnie, poznawać fajnych ludzi, którzy właśnie są w podobnym miejscu, więc trochę wspólnie się tego uczymy. Ale dla mnie to też było świetne doświadczenie, takie ze względu na moje zaplecze, dla tych osób, które, wiecie, nie znacie mnie zbyt dobrze, biznes, który prowadzę i który prosperuje w sieci, to Oplotki, to jest biznes zbudowany, który zaczął się od warsztatów rękodzieła, ale zaczął się tak naprawdę od mojej pasji do rękodzieła. W pewnym momencie swojego życia dałam taką pauzę na karierę architekta, to było związane z tym okresem okołomacierzyńskim i zaczęłam rozwijać markę właśnie wokół rękodzieła. Teraz bardzo aktywnie w ramach Oplotki wspieram twórców handmade, którzy właśnie chcą zarabiać na swoich umiejętnościach takich rękodzielniczych i budować biznesy, które no, legalnie utrzymują z tych umiejętności takich artystycznych, ale moje największe słabości to jest właśnie szydełko, druty, tak, wszystko co związane z rzeźbą, malarstwem, wszystko co można robić rękami. I okazało się, że właśnie Ann w tym Financial Freedom University, autorka tego niesamowitego programu właśnie okołofinansowego, też jest maniaczką szydełka i na jednym z takich coli w ogóle się okazało, że tam gadam o tym szydełku, użyłam jakiejś takiej metafory, że trochę te finanse stały się dla mnie trochę takim hobby, jak to szydełkowanie, że tam dłubanie sobie w tych wszystkich tam tabelkach i sprawdzanie, jak mi tam rośnie i tak dalej, stało się trochę takim nawykiem, jak moje dzierganie na kanapie, jak moje projektowanie nowych wzorów. I ona tam wyskoczyła, pokazała swoje chusty i w ogóle ja też dziergam i tak dalej. Więc Ann przychodzi do nas dzisiaj właśnie z takiego punktu: o rety, Agnieszka, ja tak bardzo chcę poznać Twoją społeczność, tych ludzi, których masz wokół siebie, bo ja wiem, że ludzie, którzy mają słabość do rękodzieła, albo ci, którzy skupiają się wokół takich środowisk, to są po prostu tacy fajni, pozytywni ludzie. I też powiedziała mi, że niewielu spotkała przedsiębiorców z Polski, ale wszystkie osoby, które spotkała, to zazwyczaj były kobiety i po prostu mam takie poczucie, że to są niesamowici ludzie. Teraz nie chcę coś przekręcić, ale tak to odebrałam, że to są niesamowite kobiety z olbrzymim biznesowym potencjałem, ale często osoby, które właśnie nie mają podstawowej wiedzy, jeżeli chodzi o zarządzanie finansami, nie tylko zarabianie, ale właśnie takie zarządzanie, żeby nam to się pomnażało i rosło. A z drugiej strony to są osoby, które nie mają takiego poczucia wartości, że tak mi się to należy, że to jest kwestia, ja się czegoś tam douczę, dokształcę i to tak naprawdę jest dla mnie proste, że właśnie dużo jest u nas jako Polek, jej opinii na podstawie tych znajomości, które miała. Dużo jest takich osób, które mają świetny potencjał, też taki finansowy potencjał, ale ze względu na nieświadomość albo poczucie, że nie są tego warte, nie potrafią się tego nauczyć, właśnie troszeczkę nie patrzą na te możliwości, które są. Więc kiedy myśmy sobie o tym podyskutowały, to po prostu ona mówi: ja bardzo bym chciała przyjść, przedstawić się, chwilę podyskutować, poopowiadać o tym moim szkoleniu. Ono jest bezpłatne, więc po prostu niech skorzysta najwięcej osób, jak się tylko da. I zgodziła się właśnie wpaść na tego dzisiejszego Zooma. Także ona wpadnie do nas około godziny 11, bo jej też obiecałam, żeby już nie było tak, że ktoś się spóźnia, nie wie, co się dzieje i tak dalej, więc tutaj też obiecałam takie trochę wprowadzenie i dzisiaj sobie po prostu z nią podyskutujemy. I teraz będzie można śmiało, słuchajcie dziewczyny, zadawać swoje pytanie. Jeżeli będziecie miały ochotę, to mogę Wam po prostu włączyć, wiecie, włączyć kamerę, włączyć mikrofon, więc jeżeli będziecie miały ochotę się włączyć, super. Tak? Natomiast nie jest to obowiązek. Jak nie czujecie się, że chcecie być widoczne czy coś takiego, będzie można też po prostu zadawać pytania na czacie i też będzie można po prostu je zadawać po polsku. Ja w razie czego pomogę z tłumaczeniem, ale przestawimy się na język angielski, żeby właśnie też, Ann się, wiecie, nie stresowała, bo ona jednak po polsku nie mówi, czyli nam jest troszeczkę łatwiej, wiecie, się przestawić na angielski, niż jej przestawić na polski. Także to tylko takim tytułem wprowadzenia. Ja oczywiście Wam wkleję tutaj też na czat linki, chociaż jak jesteście tutaj, to jest duża szansa, że właśnie przychodzicie z moich wiadomości mailowych. Jeżeli nie, jeżeli z jakichś innych miejsc, to wklejam tutaj, słuchajcie, że można się zapisać na te moje maile. I też przyjdzie taki automatyczny mail z poleceniem tego szkolenia Ann. Jak dziewczyny przychodzicie z maila, to nie musicie, bo jakby już będziecie mieć te wiadomości, macie je zresztą, dzisiaj też wysyłam taką przypominajkę o dzisiejszym spotkaniu, ale dla tych osób, które przychodzą gdzieś tam z internetów, czy właśnie z YouTube'a, ja też wiem, że tu było kilka osób, które przychodziły z mojego prywatnego Facebooka, tak, to dla tych wszystkich osób, słuchajcie, wklejam tutaj, żeby nikt nie przegapił, także wkleję jeszcze tutaj na YouTubie. W razie czego, słuchajcie, w opisie tego live'a tutaj na YouTubie jest też link, żeby sobie przeskoczyć na Zooma, także zachęcam, bo tutaj rzeczywiście na Zoomie troszeczkę więcej się będzie działo. Tyle ode mnie, dziewczyny. Ja jestem ciekawa, z jakimi oczekiwaniami wchodzicie na tą dyskusję, czy po prostu jesteście towarzysko, chcecie zobaczyć, co się dzieje, bo wiecie, że tutaj na tych spotkaniach fajne rzeczy. Czy macie jakieś konkretne pytania? Bo jeżeli macie pytania, to fajnie, żebyśmy sobie właśnie może już je sformułowały, może troszeczkę położyły na stół. Jak Ann przyjdzie, to ja zaproszę ją, żeby się troszkę przedstawiła, opowiedziała o sobie, opowiedziała o tym bezpłatnym szkoleniu, może opowiedziała też troszeczkę o tym Financial Freedom University, ale pamiętajcie, że tutaj nikt nie jest jakby po to, żeby Wam coś sprzedawać. Ja tu bardziej jestem z pozycji, skorzystajcie sobie z tego bezpłatnego szkolenia, bo ono daje bardzo dużo wiedzy. Jak będziecie chciały, będziecie myśleć o tym Financial Freedom University, to chętnie opowiem, bo też jestem w tym programie, ale zamysł jest taki, żeby nie gadać o tym wszystkim naraz, bo tego jest naprawdę, naprawdę dużo. Bardziej chodzi o to, żeby po prostu dzisiaj zrobić sobie taką dyskusję wokół różnych konceptów finansowych. Patrzę, że wklejacie do siebie polecenia, tak, Martyna, etui na szydełku, super, tak, super, zobaczcie, zaglądajcie na dresiarę, ja mam od Martyny przepiękne etui na moje sprzęty, mistrzostwo, słuchajcie, wszystko ręcznie szyte. Widzę już Joannę z Olsztyna, super, że jesteś. Widzę Karolinę, super Karolina, z Karoliną się widzimy też na pokładzie Kickstart, więc super, że jesteś. Masz firmę z kosmetykami, tak, niedaleko do Eko. Też zaglądałam do Ciebie na Face'a, widziałam bardzo fajne rzeczy, także słuchajcie, do Karoliny warto zaglądać, bo to rzeczywiście wszystko jest w duchu takiej właśnie małej manufaktury. Ja sama jestem fanką takich kosmetyków, albo dostaję w prezentach bardzo dużo, albo zwożę od mamy, zwożę od znajomych, no i ze względu na branżę handmade to też to co chwilę gdzieś coś wyczajam i co chwilę coś mam. Mamy Kasię z Hesiką, Edytę, słuchajcie, Wandę, z Wandą niedługo się spotkamy, słuchajcie, na warsztatach, które poprowadzi u nas w poniedziałek, 23, słuchajcie, w lutym, żebym mnie przekręciła, 23 to jest szydełko, czyli w lutym, 6 lutego, słuchajcie, też takie kreatywne warsztaty o 18:30 tu na YouTubie w poniedziałek. Także słuchajcie, bardzo fajnie, że mamy tutaj bardzo dużo osób. Maciejka, design coach, super, że jesteś kochana, my widzimy, czy tylko ja nie widzę czatu, my widzimy twoje wypowiedzi, słuchaj, dzień dobry, czy tylko ja nie widzę czatu, zobacz, czy coś nie jest kwestia, że przesunięta, czy coś takiego, bo czasami to jest kwestia rozciągnięcia sobie Zooma, chyba, że jesteś na komórce, to wtedy na komórce musisz tą ikonkę czatu sobie kliknąć, wtedy ci się wyświetli, nie? Super. Dobra, świetnie, to dziewczyny, dajcie znać, jak u Was, tak, jak z tymi kwestiami finansowymi. Jeżeli ktoś ma ochotę wskoczyć sobie, słuchajcie, na wideo i na dźwięk, to podnieście łapkę. Ja Wam wtedy dam panel współprowadzącego, tak, czyli tego co-hosta i możemy sobie po prostu dyskutować, tylko od razu mówię, że to się nagrywa, żebyście miały świadomość, że jest nagrywane i jakby wskakując wyrażacie zgodę na to, żeby Wasz wizerunek tutaj właśnie pozostał na nagraniu. Potraktujcie to też jako może formę promocji, tak? Zawsze to jest tak, że możemy o sobie powiedzieć, przedstawić się, trochę się pokazać, także potraktujcie to też jako promocja. Ja to nagranie jutro wyślę też w mailu do tej naszej listy mailowej, żeby właśnie każdy mógł sobie to nagranie zobaczyć, bo wiem, że dużo osób sygnalizowało, że no jest w pracy, nie może o tej godzinie, także też mam świadomość, że się nastawiacie na nagranie, także można fajnie tak. Tak, dokładnie, chyba milej będzie się widzieć, dokładnie. Wanda, daj znać, czy Cię mogę wrzucić na wideo, to też fajnie, jakbyś mogła opowiedzieć, może też fajna okazja, żeby właśnie porozmawiać o kontekście finansów właśnie i naszego hobby. My się w tej naszej branży tak trochę, zastanawiamy nad tym, nie? Ile dla nas warte jest właśnie handmade. Kochana, daję Ci uprawnienia panelisty i wskakuj, Wanda, śmiało się przedstawiaj. Jak masz ochotę się przedstawić na angielski, możemy też poeksperymentować śmiało. Chyba już powinno Ci się włączać. Super, jesteś. To słuchajcie dziewczyny, kto odważny, piszcie mi na czacie albo podnieście łapkę i wskakujcie, słuchajcie, na żywo. Albo jeżeli nie, no to zadajcie pytanie na czacie. Wanda, ja Ci oddaję głos. Masz przepiękną chustę, słuchaj, w klimacie dzisiaj pierwszego spotkania.
No właśnie od razu, jak zobaczyłam zdjęcia Ann, i zaczęłaś pisać o tym szydełkowaniu, no to myślę sobie, dobra, to nie jest moja robota, tylko to jest vintage'owy kocyk, taki w ogóle trochę psychodeliczny wręcz, ale tak. Ubrałam się pod kątem spotkania. I bardzo fajnie, ja widziałam tą wczorajszą chyba na żywo, zaskoczyła mnie ekspresją swoją, takiego bardzo ciekawe doświadczenie. Miło będzie dzisiaj na żywo się spotkać.
Super. Ekstra. Ja zaraz do niej też wyślę taką krótką wiadomość, że już jesteśmy na żywo, że wszystko działa, bo ja się bardzo stresowałam, czy dam radę dać Ciebie na panelistę, czy coś, bo ona też wejdzie jako uczestniczka, słuchajcie, ja ją włączę jako panelistę, więc dzięki Wanda.
Jakby co, to mnie wyrzucaj.
Nie, spoko, właśnie im więcej nas będzie na wideo, tym lepiej, myślę, bo to też nie będzie takie, że wiecie, no ja mam tą możliwość zadawania pytań w programie, więc też chcę Wam jakby dać tą możliwość, bo jeżeli macie konkretne rzeczy, to warto sobie o tym podyskutować. Pewno też wyłapiecie, ona się przedstawi, trochę też poopowiada, można się zaczepić o to i pociągnąć po prostu o jakichś konceptach, które Was zainteresują, ale też jak coś się dzieje u Was konkretnego, to warto zapytać. Ja jestem tak zaskoczona w ogóle, jak człowiek może mieć w głowie tyle informacji i też jak się słucha, jak ona tym językiem finansowym operuje, to trochę jest tak, że my się otrzaskujemy i uczymy się przez samo zanurzanie się w tym języku. Więc też jak będziecie miały takie pierwsze wrażenie, że o Boże, ona używa takich słów, których w ogóle nie kumam, to jest normalne, ja też tak ciągle mam, ale trochę jest tak, że jak się przez to przedrzemy, to bierzemy coraz więcej tych konceptów i zaczynamy je rozumieć i nawet później sobie googlujemy po polsku, ale nagle nam się otwierają zupełnie inne klapki. Ale Wanda, może jest coś takiego wokół finansów, co byś chciała, wiesz, tak dla rozgrzewki podyskutować,
Tak,
bo ja też
to
wtedy będę
ja
mogła
mogę Tobie
pomóc.
podziękować w sumie, bo któregoś razu nagrywałaś chyba na uploadkach na YouTubie i powiedziałaś właśnie, że jesteś w mieszkanku i tak po prostu mi kliknęło, no w ogóle wiadomo, to jest punkt wyjścia, tak, żeby jakoś tam, nie wiem, móc mieć czy mieć, ale tak sobie pomyślałam wtedy i robiliśmy naradę parę dni temu z mężem, że z różnych względów jedno mieszkanie po prostu tak wynajmuję długoterminowo, ale chyba z tym skończę i w ogóle wymyśliłam nawet, że ja w ogóle część poświęcę, część mogę wydzielić i poświęcić na swoją pracownię, którą teraz mam w dość niewygodnym miejscu, drugą część na krótki termin, więc nawet po prostu nawet to zadziałało tak, konkretny brainstorm się zrobił i konkretne pomysły, już się na nie cieszę, więc no, także dziękuję.
Super, bo
Taki
fajnie,
konkret.
że o tym wynajmie. Czekaj, wyślę tego SMS-a i zaraz Ci też powiem, bo nam się trochę klapki otworzyły właśnie o tym wynajmie. Napisałam tylko, że I started the meeting, we are already here, you can jump in. See
Znaczy
you.
ja jeszcze tylko powiem, że jak wiesz, teraz już wydaje mi się, że jest przesądzone, że ten wynajem krótkoterminowy to już się wskakuje jakby ewidentnie w działalność gospodarczą, więc to też chyba trzeba, że no myśmy z tym mieli pewne wątpliwości swego czasu, jak to ogarnąć, natomiast teraz też już mam pomysły, jak to zrobić prawidłowo, więc tak, no tylko rzeczywiście wydaje mi się, że to już jest wtedy taka decyzja, prawda? Czy po prostu wynajmujesz mieszkanie tak na zasadzie ryczałtu i tak dalej, czy już rzeczywiście to podciągnąć pod działalność gospodarczą, no bo jest, wydaje mi się, no z tego co kojarzę, obowiązek, tak? Już taki ewidentny.
Super pytanie. Już Ci mówię, jak ja to zrobiłam. Właśnie teraz miałam też taki moment, kiedy aktualizujemy dokumenty spółki i to był taki moment, kiedy no dobra, już się płaci za ten dodatkowy jakby wpis w KRS-ie, bo to znowu 3,5 stówy trzeba za każdą jakby aktualizację tych dokumentów.
Nie wiem, czy ja mam wpisane w spółce.
No i właśnie
tak,
myśmy się zastanawiali, czy to dopisać, czy nie dopisać. Jeszcze dzwoniłam do księgowej, żeby się upewnić, bo to dosłownie na dniach będziemy finalizować, żeby nie było, że znowu nam się, wiesz, przypomni o tych nieruchomościach i kurde, będziemy znowu bulić i dopisywać. Ale ona powiedziała coś takiego, że dopóki nie robimy z tego jakby tego naszego głównego biznesu, tylko to jest właśnie taki, wiesz, dodatkowy strumień dla naszego budżetu rodzinnego, to mówi, ona by z tego nie robiła firmy, a jeżeli już, to bardziej by postawiła oddzielną działalność właśnie na ten cel. I jakby wiesz, też tą księgowość prowadziła jakby na przykład w drugiej spółce, albo w drugiej działalności, albo w drugim ryczałcie, żeby właśnie to rozliczać, bo tam są różne opcje, co mówiłaś, że tu gdzieś ryczałt, tu można tu można to w ogóle jako przychód taki, wiesz, taki prywatny.
Moim zdaniem, a czy wiesz co, nie chcę teraz wchodzić, bo przecież nie jesteśmy księgowymi, ale mi się wydawało, że już teraz nie można jako przychód prywatny robić tych hotelowych wynajmów, ale to niech każdy sobie sam sprawdzi, nie? No bo nie możemy nawet doradzać ani nic takiego.
Tak, patrzę, że ty też piszesz, zapraszam na mieszkaniczka, powiedzę o inwestycjach i nie tylko. Kochana, może będziesz chciała wskoczyć, wiesz, na wideo, to wskakuj tutaj też, fajną promocję sobie zrobisz, bo zobacz, już myśląc o zarządzaniu finansami, pierwszy temat, który nam przychodzi do głowy, to są właśnie nieruchomości. I jak Ann też uczy, że jakby w tym portfolio, to jednak to jest ta duża część, tak? My sobie tam dzielimy tak jakby te 100%, powiedzmy takie rekomendowane jest 50-60% tych wszystkich naszych zasobów, fajnie jak to będą nieruchomości, że to jest taki bardzo stabilny sposób inwestowania, tak? I tam dalej dopiero dzielimy na kolejne. Ale tak jeszcze kończąc wątek, to my generalnie na razie to robimy jako taki dochód prywatny i po prostu, wiesz, te 8, chyba tam jest 8,5 albo 8%, że po prostu co miesiąc się deklaruje, ile tego przychodu przyszło i od tego się uiszcza, wiesz, tą opłatę. I też nas pocieszyła ta księgowa, że to jest na zasadzie, że jakby zgłoszeniem jest uiszczenie pierwszej opłaty. Więc to też mi się wydawało, że to trzeba iść do urzędu i teraz jakieś wielkie tam papiery wypełniać i Nie, to po prostu jest teraz tak, że jak pierwszy raz się uiści tam opłatę, to po prostu jakby domyślnie to też jest zgłoszenie prowadzenia takiej działalności, nie? Super, dziewczyny już wklejają, super dziewczyny, że dajecie. Jak macie ochotę wejść na żywo, dajcie cynka, to ja Was awansuję na prowadzącego, będziecie sobie też mogły wejść, po prostu troszeczkę więcej o tym opowiedzieć. Ja przyznam, że to, co się u Ann na przykład nauczyłam, to takie wyciskanie soków z tego, co robię, czyli jakby pierwsze, o czym myślałam przy tamtym mieszkaniu, to było dobra, wynajmijmy tym studentom i problem z głowy. I fakt, że to jest takie bardzo wygodne. Ona mi na przykład pokazała dużo innych możliwości, typu właśnie ten najem krótkoterminowy, jakieś Airbnb, jakieś formy właśnie takiego najmu pracowniczego, tak? Czyli dużo takich różnych opcji, które można jakby dostosować do danej nieruchomości, do danej lokalizacji, do naszego też budżetu, tak? Że często jest tak, że my też możemy być jakby udziałowcem w jakiejś większej inwestycji. Tego na przykład też nigdy nie brałam pod uwagę, nie? Że to może być tak, że my wpłacamy jakąś część pieniędzy do takiej inwestycji organizowanej i wtedy później jakby odcinamy kupony, że to nie jest tak, że musimy mieć tyle pieniędzy, żeby kupić konkretną nieruchomość w całości. No zwłaszcza jak mieszkamy w Warszawa, Poznań, no to wszyscy wiemy, jakie te ceny są po prostu kosmiczne. Nie?
No my teraz z rodziną jedno tak kupiliśmy mieszkanie.
Dokładnie.
Ale no tak, i fajnie.
Tak, tak.
Jeżeli komuś się przyda w przyszłości, to wtedy jest, tak? Nie wiem, czy teściowa, czy któryś z wnuczków. No taki pomysł.
Okay, I see Anna Wilson already joined. Anna, I'm going to be giving you a panelist rights, so you can jump in on the camera and we'll switch into English from our Polish chat. So ladies, that's going to be a challenge to also switch into English. Maybe that's my bad because I could have started that in English for us to, you know, kind of invite our brains to think in English. Hello, Anna, so great to have you. I'll just blub for a second to let ladies like switch into English as well, because we had like a warm up in Polish. But what we've already covered, what we already started was the thing that you teach in your Financial Freedom University, you know, the concept of us building the asset drawer in a way, turning our thinking from, you know, putting that money aside into putting that money into something that will give us more money, just like those trees that are giving us fruit and we could feed off them. And what we started in our conversation, and also Wanda joined us on video, other ladies are on chat. I'm also inviting ladies, if you want to join, feel free to join as well, make use of that opportunity. But what we already started discussing with Wanda was the fact that we think of properties as this first thing, and what we teach in Financial Freedom University is that it's also this big chunk of our overall portfolio, because once it's kind of something that we intuitively know that is something to be building our asset drawing, but also that's something that we kind of have some knowledge about. But Anne, before I, you know, steal the show, please tell us a couple of words about you. Of course, ladies know you from your crocheting skills as well as we have this community here, but feel free to speak a lot and tell us a bit more. What's your mission? You know, how did it start that you do what you do and you keep inspiring more and more of us?
Well, thank you, Agnieszka. And it's just such a joy to be here. Excuse the squeaky voice. I got a little bit of a cold, but hell, you know, we pitch up and we show up, and it's such a joy to be here. And when you speak about crocheting, yeah, absolutely, it's like I feel like I'm completely kindergarten on there, but I love it. And you know, last week Agnieszka and I were chatting about financial freedom, and by having process, almost this map, and Agnieszka used this beautiful example of going, yeah, you know, when you've got this pattern and you get clear, oh, you know, am I making a shawl? Am I making a beanie? Am I making a scarf? Am I making a big Afghan blanket? It's important to know, one, what the hell we're actually making. And then two, you know, once you've got the pattern and you know, well, it's this stitch, that, and you just follow it, you can do it. But you've still got that freedom, that creativity to bring yourself in, the colors you choose, the textures, the yarn. And you know, I love this metaphor that you used for creating anything in our life. And when we actually start understanding what real financial liberation is, what financial freedom is, the difference between being rich and being wealthy, and then how to actually start investing. How do we create real wealth in our life? And then this almost, maybe slightly disappointing, but almost relieving moment when we go, oh, it's not that complicated. We learn, we have the pattern, we learn a couple of different stitches, we choose our yarns, and then we have to freaking do it. So it is such a pleasure to be here. And Agnieszka, I don't know if she shared some of her story, she's really shown that with the frameworks, once you actually just shown a different way, how quickly we can transform our reality. And through creativity, but just creativity, just wanting a different way isn't enough if we don't have that framework. So it's just an absolute joy to be here. So maybe I dive on in and let's cover this very first clear distinction of going, what is being rich? What is being wealthy? And there's a few key shifts that we have to make. And for many people, this is quite an aha. And I want you to just sort of think in your life. The way I describe it is being rich is the things that other people can get to see. Yes, it's the earrings and the clothes we wear, and it's the house we live in, it's the car we drive, it's the holiday we go on. Maybe it's the school your kids go to, or what they wear. Maybe for some people that's the projection. Or hell, maybe it's even the dog you have. But the point is, being rich is a lot of what we spend our money on. And often we have to also get really clear how much of what we spend our money on is because we're trying to be worthy, we're trying to fit in, we're trying to do what's right, versus how much is actually lights us up. But I'm deviating off. So rich, what do we spend our money on? But wealthy is the stuff that nobody else gets to see. Wealthy is the stuff that is like that big iceberg. It's the bulk of what actually happens underneath that ocean. And it's these deep foundations that we have. Unfortunately, most people get this really confused and they think riches equal wealth. Yeah. So what is wealth? Wealth is when you have assets, investments, where you have money set up in this deep foundation that serves a whole range of purpose in your life. The very first purpose is to not only make you feel, but to keep you safe. Yeah. So there's this key first role of money, which is about stability and safety. Because one of the things we often don't talk about in businesses and as entrepreneurs and in the personal development world, there's a lot of, believe it, leap and the net will open. Well, sometimes the net doesn't friggin' open. Sometimes we've got to place a net so that we can leap, so we can spread our wings wider. Because if we're wanting to do anything in life, but a huge amount of our energy is consumed about financial anxiety, wondering whether, next week, next month, can we pay the rent or the mortgage or the food bill or look after the kids, and prices are going up, next story, your mortgage rates are going up, escalation, wars happen, things out of our control. And if we don't have this beautiful base that says, I'm okay, I've got this base where I can participate in life, then it doesn't matter what riches we have, because we're not able to live fully in life. So the first role of wealth is providing this deep safety. This next part, so this is this freedom from anxiety. The next is about having choices and options. So what we can say yes to and what we can say no to. Now, a huge amount of what I'm talking about, you might say, well, Anne, isn't that all mindset? No, it also comes from deeply having assets and investments that give us choices and options. Neska shared with me the beautiful story about her hubby who, working away, price escalations going on, suddenly realized, I need to ask for that salary increase. I'm not sure whether you've shared that with your group. Yeah. And, this wealth lets you say, hang on, I don't have to just take the next thing that comes. I don't have to just take any old client because I'm desperate. I don't have to take any old job. So often we're living life so closely that we don't actually have the expansion to be able to allow amazing opportunities in that can keep expanding us. And so my mission is to really teach predominantly women, but hey, men too, because they're not taught about this money stuff, how to learn what to do with money between it coming in and going out, so that you create real sustainable wealth, not just to have wealth, but in order to serve your life so that you can be free of anxiety, so you can actually slow down and listen to what do you really want. So you've got the resources to direct your creativity to your life, and so that you can keep expanding you. And so this is through real practical how-to. It is that pattern. It is that teaching how to stitches. How do you invest in assets? What are the different assets? How do you manage your money? And how do you create a whole framework? Because we want riches, but to try and have riches without wealth is really this endless, it's like a sugar rush. A lot of people go off this, and what they do is they spend the money they have, immediately it flows out of their life on the next thing. Maybe it's on things they consume. Maybe, and it's happened to many of us in businesses, it's the next product, it's the next course that we think it's almost as though we have to be taught it's okay to keep some of the money you make.
Yeah.
You know, to not feel guilty about keeping money in your life, or not feel anxious, go, well, I don't know what to do with it, so I'm just going to spend it on the next up level or whatever that is. But when we realize, there's a new thing we can spend our money on, we can spend that money that comes in on assets that then can grow in value, earn income. This expands, and then our whole life expands, and we've got more. So it's about creating more loops. It's not about restricting and frugality and not having the riches, but it's about building this base. And so it really is about standing for the and. It's about, hey, we can live the most exquisite, glorious life, free of anxiety and stress, and have the fun holidays and the nice things, and build up this really amazing base, which at the end of the day gives us this freedom to choose whether we work or not, to live where we want to work, to choose how we're going to hang out, to contribute and do the things we want. So that is what we're here. So I'm actually about helping you to create wealth and riches.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I'll just mention, because I haven't said that story, about my hubby, Jacek, because we've been discussing with Anne, what is really cool that in this program we get to work together. Like, that's one course that we do, but Jacek is kind of watching with me. So we discussed the concept. Of course, we take financial decision as a married couple, together. So that would be, stupid of me not to share that. And, it's so funny because Jacek is a corporate worker and I'm, online business lady. So we're kind of two different worlds apart. And what Anne said, that also applies to me. I'm always looking for a next course, for a new mentor, how to up level, get to the next level in your business. And he was always looking at that like, Agnieszka, you're earning more and more and more, but you also spend more and more and more. And we are stuck at the same level where it's going to end, right? And in your program, we did get to sit down with our finances together and make those decisions, not only from a position, what do I need to grow in the business or mindset wise, or like as a person, like with personal growth, but also how can we grow as a family budget and how can we grow those assets so that could work alongside. And it's so funny because Jacek glimpsed somewhere, he's going to be probably joining because he's still at work, but he was watching on YouTube. So, just to finish this thread, like he was at the point where he wanted a raise at his job, but his boss was like, okay, no, I'm not giving you that much. But thanks to the work we did with Anne, we were at the position where he could be like, I want that raise or else I'm gone. And he was able to make that decision when he said no, to actually look for a new job, which now is like way better paid. He feels more satisfied with it and he feels respected. And we wouldn't be able to have this, freedom to make that decision also as a couple, because, we like split the family budget. His salary is also an important part of the budget, but we wouldn't be able to have that decision if before we didn't work with Anne and build this financial pillow and have some money on the side, like giving us the safety to take those decisions like that. So that's just what I wanted to mention. I could talk about that forever. If you're going to have some questions, just feel free to ask. But what Anne installed in us was this thinking of money as a tool to give us the freedom, not to just follow the next thing to buy, to show off that we are rich, but rather building this wealth that we feel safe and we feel rich inside because we are actually free in our decisions. And I already see that there is this nice question from Maciejka, design coach. I'll translate it because it's this option of, multiplying the money, because we've been discussing the properties. And of course, you also teach that it's a big chunk of our portfolio, but there's also this idea that it's not the only part. There are many more. Maybe you can touch on this one because that's a really nice question. How can you multiply what you have if you don't want to go into properties only? right?
Absolutely. Such great questions. And just so you know, currently I've got a 4-part training series happening. So come on in, there's questions in between. So really you can immerse yourself and learn all sorts of elements. And I'm sure Agnieszka will share the link. So now we sort of go to, okay, what are we wanting to create? And I love your story about how it's also so important to get clear and a commonality of what freedom is for us, for ourselves. What does that actually mean in terms of an actual number? What kind of lifestyle we're living, and have those conversations with a partner and be able to have common language on this and a common strategy, because then you're not working against each other. So now you go, okay, I want wealth, financial freedom. I know that is when I've got assets, investments that can grow in value and earn income that can pay for my chosen lifestyle. So this is the goal. I want you to get to the point where you can choose whether you work or not. Your assets pay for that. Now, what's really important to know, as we're building our wealth and creating our freedom, there's 2 really money machines or wealth machines we need to create. We need money flowing in. So this is not that we don't want money. We need money flowing in. And the first asset we all have is ourselves. So this is our ability to create money, to leverage, to reach more people, to, whether it's through as an entrepreneur, as a salaried employee, it doesn't really matter. When we can expand our value that we bring to the world, we can bring more money in. So that's our first asset we have. Then we can put a series of assets in place, what I call low input businesses, which create residual income. So this is where a lot of you are looking at that. How do you use the internet, online systems, automated systems, whether that's writing a book that creates royalties, whether you sell crochet patterns on Etsy, whether you create something once and then through marketing machines, you can get this residual income. So now we're using leverage. We're using systems, we're using processes, we're using creativity, and we're realizing, the key thing is we need to separate ourselves from that time exchange. So this is still part of the cash flow machine. In a way, it is an asset, but it's not necessarily an asset you could sell specifically. It's using leverage, masterminds, groups of how do you increase your reach. You could be doing live trainings, but you reach more and more people because you can do it via Zoom and so on. So this is increasing the cash flow that comes in. But you have to direct some of these to these other assets, which then can give you asset generated wealth. So the first and the asset class that actually should form the biggest base is stocks and shares. This is investing in the stock market. And a lot of women especially go, oh God, no, that is scary. It's not for the likes of us. That's some, dude in some slimy suit or something, or you see this shit on the internet, Forex trading or this and that. Now, that is not what I'm talking about. When we're talking about equities, we're talking about being a shareholder in a business. So if you've got your own business, you're often your primary shareholder, but you get to own and be an owner in a whole lot of amazing businesses, from Tesla to Nvidia to Peloton to PayPal to whatever. Most of a whole lot of the businesses that you use in your business, you can be a shareholder in those. And so when we start going, oh, this is not some kind of gambling or something, it's actually going, I own a share in those businesses. But then we go, well, how? Isn't this complicated? Don't we need a lot of money? No, we don't. One of the things I had to really learn, I tried lots of, I was what I called an octopus on roller skates. I was so eager to get financially free and learn when I realized there was this different realm that I could work hard and I could spend hard, but hey, there was a different thing. I get how to get these assets. I just felt all this, this formula, that hack, this trick, active trading. And I thought, the more complicated a system, the more hard I had to work or hustle at it, then that would get me faster. But actually, the world of wealth and assets doesn't work like that. It really is like planting trees, nurturing them and letting them grow. If we don't want to plant a tree and go, okay, tomorrow, you've got to give me that shade and the fruit.
Exactly.
The poor old tree can't do its job, and then we rip it out. So when we start going, we can invest in these simple things called index trackers. Now, in the second training, in this free workshop, I go deeper onto that. But You can invest in very low cost meaning there's not a lot of your money spent to get into the investment. When you think about real estate or property, high cost to get in. Your money, you can invest in single funds that you own a whole bunch of shares and you just put this regular investing in place. And there's a lot of benefits, but let's just cover that first one. And I just want you to plant the seed that it's not difficult, it's not dangerous. It really is a way that you can also put it in an automated way that you can get on and focus on your life, your business, your other cash flow machines, whilst allowing that wealth to accumulate. The second one is real estate, a huge asset class. The big challenge is most people think that because they own a home or they live in it, that they're an investor, that their home is an asset. It is not. For most people, their home is a liability. Now, there's a whole nother conversation we can have about should you rent, should you own that home you live in? And there's a lot of emotional and other elements that are important in our life. But from a wealth generating aspect, the home you live in is not an asset. So we're talking about where you invest in real estate, and that could be individual apartments, it could be multifamily apartments, it could be storage units, it could be industrial parks, it could be big commercial buildings. It's where other people use it and you get the rental income, but you also get the capital growth. Basically, an asset is anything that can grow in value or can generate income without you being involved. You either buy the asset or create it or expand it. So that's your involvement in it. But then the asset gets on and does its work. One of the big things we have to learn is how to protect our money from ourselves, how to not fiddle with it, mess it up, get rid of it. So that's a key second lesson. So now we've got real estate. You can also invest in real estate. You can buy it directly, where you start using something called leverage, borrowing, as long as you know how to do the numbers. But you can invest in it through a real estate investment trust, via your online broker, the same place where you'll buy your index tracker equity investments. And now there's many what are called fractional investing platforms, which allow you to own shares in developments all over the world. So there's many ways to do this. Now, the third asset class is what's called fixed income. This is where you've got a capital mass, and now you effectively become the banker. Often these are also, think about them as loans. Now, many people go, well, and, I can put my money in the bank and I might get 1 or 2% interest. That's not going to get me rich. No, it's not. Know this. Nobody saves their way to freedom. You have to get those assets working. But what most people don't know, that you can be just like the bank. You can do loan instruments where you lend money to the banks and other people. You could do things called structured notes. There are these things called bonds. Now, that has a role in your portfolio, and how much you have in that depends on what stage you're at on your life journey. But it's important to just understand, there are these different things. It's a bit like different patterns, different stitches that create different outcomes. But when we know what they are, we can put that thing together and go, this is my portfolio. That's where I'm headed. That's how the value of the assets I need to be free. I'm going to use these different assets to get there, depending on what floats your boat, what you enjoy. But you need to have a mix. You can't just have one asset. So then we come to cash. Cash is important. We don't want a lot of cash, but we need cash in the portfolio just to be able to respond to opportunities. Right now we've been having, for the last year, we've been having the most fantastic sale on the stock market. Yes, we've been having a sale. Now, I don't know where you all live, but I'm based in South Africa, and there's a fantastic yarn shop down the road from me. And every July, they have this huge, big sale, and everybody has it on their list, and there's queues from here to next week of everybody buying yarn. Now, the stock market's been having the same thing, but everybody, instead of lining up, goes, oh no, this is scary, the stock market's terrible. We go, no. When we're a net accumulator of assets, we want to be buying when the sale is on. So there's never been a better time to get it going. So then you have a range of smaller asset classes which you want to bring in, but only when you've got those top 4 really working for you and you've got strategies. Another one, so one is called collectibles. So these are artworks or comic books or vintage cars. And again, you can, many people love sort of these collectible things. Again, an interesting asset class. You need to understand its nuance. I personally don't like it as an asset class. Others do. But this is where we can bring our own flavor in, because when we've got that base for working, hey, we really just start repeating the process over and over and over again. One of the big things that Agnieszka knows that I go on and on and on about is a phrase, I go, boring is beautiful.
Mhm.
We've got to allow our wealth creation and these foundational elements of our life to be a bit boring. Really, it is like, you cook it once, you cook it again, you do it again, you do it again, but it can be automated. So it's when we try and make it fancy and complicated, that's when we're likely to mess it up. It really, get your thrills from your life, not from your investing. And then we have commodities. Those are the things that we as humans consume. There's precious metal. It has a role in your portfolio. And then cryptos. So those are the 8 sort of key asset class where you can invest in. Crypto is very speculative, top of the pyramid. Sorry, I'm just going to take a little sip.
No problems. I'm taking notes also on chat, ladies. So in case you want to go back to this, I will save the chat and then send you email with a kind of note, because what you're saying, and there's so many asset classes. And I remember I kind of knew that they existed, but it seemed so daunting. Like it's so much. It's such and each of them you have to know a little bit about it before you start. And remember that when we started like building our portfolios, it was so easy because you also have the structure. Okay, like the majority for investment, like, and the crypto could be like 1%. So maybe don't learn about it for now. It's just like for playing around. And that for us, that was a game changer, because suddenly you're down to maybe 2 or 3, and then you pick one, and then you go deeper into that, and you're suddenly, okay, I get it. Now I can go to the next one. And once, after a couple of months, you never know, and you suddenly, 4 or 5 asset classes, and you already get them automated. So it's like working in the background, and you're free to explore another one. And it becomes such a, fun journey, rather than, oh my gosh, I'm at this university and I just learn and learn.
Yeah, absolutely. You've covered that beautifully. And so this is key. If you're creating a digital business or an online business, that is obviously really key. This is part of your residual income. You're bringing that in, looking at leveraging. So if you're focusing on that, and that's where your active focus is, I really recommend you then just put your equity investing and your real estate investing as 2 asset classes to build up. And both of those you can do digitally, literally via your phone, in an automated way. And you just set it up so that you make sure, sorry about this, and some of that money that you bring in is diverted. And this is why, we need to know how to invest. We understand what creates wealth. We really, really have to start looking at how is money flowing through our lives. Because if we're not managing our outflow and making sure that some of the money we spend stays in our life, and a big chunk of that gets converted into assets, we'll never, ever create freedom. And that's why we spend a lot of time looking at how does money flow through your life. Because so we are taught to fixate on income. We're taught, as our entire education system is, what are you going to earn? If I could just earn more, I'll be okay. If I can get a better job, if I could create that business, if I can get another asset, whatever that thing. Just as in the business, hey, maybe another launch. Can I get more money flowing in? And in businesses, often you'll see people, hey, I've got a 7-figure business or an 8-figure launch. And I go, so what? That's a vanity number. It's revenue. Revenue doesn't matter. How much did you get to keep? So what's the profit? And of that you got to keep, how much got diverted to create real sustainable wealth for you?
Yeah.
Did your net worth shift? Not your self-worth, your net worth. The assets minus your liabilities. If your net worth is not consistently growing, there's something broken in your money flow.
Yeah.
So when we know, my net worth is the most important thing, because you are the most important asset you have. You are the CEO of the greatest business there is, your life. So we have to start putting ourselves first and go, everything else is in service of that. Your business is on service of that. Your health is in service of it. Your money is in service of that. Your assets. Well, unfortunately, we often get these things all tilted in the wrong way around. And then we go, every one of these components in my life, how much is your business contributing to the quality of your life, That's great. That's the riches. We want to be able to spend a bit more and have some more things in life to feel free. But how much is it contributing to your longer term financial well-being? Is it shifting your net worth? And these are sometimes we've got to step back and ask these powerful questions of ourselves. And so, you know, I just see the time and where we're at, and I want to make sure we've got time for more questions. I'm covering lots of different things. Whilst we're building assets, the other focus where we've got to shift is, yes, income's important, but when we step back, we pull the income in, focus on building assets, and focus on being a wealthy spender. So money flows through our life. Whatever your reality is right now, designing your life, where you live, how you live, whatever your money picture looks like, is as a result of the choices you made with how you spent your resources, your time, your energy, and your money in the past. So our lives are quite literally created by the decisions we make with our resources.
Yeah.
And our money is a very important resource. But again, we're not taught how to spend well. And this is so key. You know, embrace being a wealthy spender. Know what you want. Get really clear on, are you giving your money direction? Are you telling it what you want from it? Do you know what your money is doing? So we have to shift that focus from always like, how do we bring more in? So in your business, know what your expenses are, know where your money is flowing to. Is it actually serving? Is it getting the maximum value from your staff, from your Facebook ads, to whatever it is that your expenses are? And then in your life, go through, just spend a bit of time, and it doesn't have to be often. Once a year, I do put on a big treasure hunt, and I go, okay, let's see, money, what the fuck have you been doing?
Yeah.
And I go, okay, where am I spending this money in my life? And does it light me up? Does it bring me joy? Is it bringing me the things that I say I want? Or are my money behaviors out of line with the things that I say I want in my life? And when we can slow down and do this, we can often liberate a whole lot of money that we're spending unconsciously. We're just neglecting it, so it's flowing out. Money that we're spending because we think we should, because that's what other people do and that's what they're fitting in. And this is where we really start getting to see, if I just start spending more money on the things that really light me up, that really bring me joy, that really also move the needle on the other aspects of my life, I'm going to enjoy life more. I'm not going to then spend a whole lot of money that I spend on emotional triggers or whatever else when I'm feeling shitty about life or whatever. It really does become generative. And we find that often our price tag of our life is less than we think we need it to be.
Yeah.
Because this is very important. We now know assets create our wealth. But how much do we need? How big is that pile of assets in order to pay for our lifestyle? So we come right back and go right to the center of you. What do you want?
Yeah.
What actually do you want from your life? And it was my birthday, and I got this beautiful email from Nessie, which said, you know, she wishes me many hours spent wonderfully crocheting, listening to music, gazing out the window. You know, I love being able to do this. It's deeply part of my purpose. It gives me so much fulfillment. But I also have a beautiful home in the African bush where I get to spend time. I look out the window, I look from my deck, and I see elephants and giraffes and zebras walking across my lawn, and I'm literally live in a game reserve. And yes, quite often I'm sitting there crocheting and there is music playing. And, you know, I can also get caught in going, well, maybe I, should have another car, or maybe I should be traveling more again. I used to travel a hell of a lot. And then I drop real deep in and go, right now, this is my truth right now, is hell yeah, being able to sit on that couch, listening to music, watching wildlife whilst crocheting a great project. That's a pretty damn good life. Now, of course, it shifts and changes, but this is so key, because when we know what we want, when we can keep coming back into that, then we're making choices about how we spend our time, our energy, and money as an expression of our worthiness, as an expression of remembering we're already enough. There's nothing we can do or have or create in order to be loved or in order to be worthy. The fact that we've got this gift of life, that's evidence enough. So now, what do you want to do with this freaking beautiful life? And how do you get that money serving you?
And what's beautiful, and that you also have this tool, because for me, it was always about the feeling, just as you said, when I'm sitting there and I'm like crocheting another project and that's part of my business, then I said, I did something right. Like, I love my business. I love spending time like that. That's a way of, chill out as well for me. So I feel so wealthy because there's also money coming in from this business, which I enjoy. But then you gave me this tool, which is actually like an Excel sheet, like a combo Excel sheet, when you can actually count what is your number. And I remember for me, that was this epiphany, because for me, always investing in myself or investing in my business or the growth of the organization was always about the feeling. I kind of feel I want to get to the next level, so I invest into some program and get some training or something. But then when I got to, sorry, I'll just turn it off. Then when I got, that's my accountant, that's a funny coincidence, right? But when I got this number, when I could actually look, how much do I need to earn to be totally free and be able to kind of take decisions from a point whether I want it or not whether I must or I have to. For me, that was such a great game changer. And I see Wanda also has this question. That's why I'm circling back to that.
I just want to say, there in the World of Wealth workshop, which we're doing right now, in training 1, the replay is already there on the concierge page. And there's also a spreadsheet, this exact spreadsheet, where you work out what is your enough number for what is the size of the assets you need to basically pay for your current lifestyle, and to pay for your freedom lifestyle if your current lifestyle isn't quite there yet. So, this is so powerful, because this is such a part of the anxiety and the stress. If we don't know where there is, we just keep floundering around doing, different things, wondering that hopefully one day we'll get there, wherever that is. But when we know where there is, we can now put a plan in place. So what's that question?
Yeah, Wanda, you can hop on, turn on your mic.
Okay, thanks. I only my money is flowing out on books, so I need to make some on it.
That's called shelf development.
Okay.
Not self-development.
Thanks. My question refers to, maybe you have some advices on how to find balance between investing into your business and into assets, because I think it's very tricky to sometimes to decide what to invest to grow the business and what to keep and invest in other things.
Absolutely. And we can get caught into a spiral, and especially a world that is constantly, you've got to reinvest in your business if you believe in it. And absolutely, anything that we want to grow, we need to give time and attention. And so remember, your resources for creating the life you want are threefold. It's your time. It's your energy, your attention, the actual physical well-being, and your money. So if all of your 3 resources, the majority of that is going into just your business, fine, that will grow. But it just creates this cash cycle. And if all of that money is going out, not necessarily being consumed on what we'll judge as, let's say, frivolous or consumer stuff, but consuming is also being caught in the cycle of re-enter the business. We have to get really clear about, hang on, what is going on here? Because, I've been in some of the biggest online marketing masterminds in the world. I've been part of Jeff Walker's Plus group. I've worked with a lot of big hitters. And one of the most tragic things I see is people have earned more and more and more, but they never break out of this habit of almost break even. So one of the first things has to happen is saying, what am I believing? What is the story I have about allowing some of that money to come into my life? Some entrepreneurs say, oh, but that feels so boring. I can make more if I put it back in my business. And I go, careful, because you're never actually going to ever create wealth. So we can get caught into, oh, but the investing seems boring or that. So I don't know if that's true, but we've got to slow down and go, what is the story I have? Or no, there's not enough. So are we playing some sort of urgency or catch up, that I'm short of time, that I've got to get somewhere then, and then it'll be okay for me to look after myself, my health. Yeah, I know, I get it. My throat's a bit, but and so when we go, if we want sustainable business, if we want a sustainable life, we have to create a practice. And it has to be a discipline where you take some of that money out, not just to pay for some of your life and contribution to your lifestyle costs, but some of that has to be a discipline where you go, no matter what, that money is going to stay and it's going to go into investments. And this is why it's so important you learn some strategies to invest that are easy and simple and can be automated. Because one of the barriers you can say, shit, I've barely got time for my business. Now you want me to learn another thing and handle that. Well, that's what's great. Like investing in stock through the stock market and index trackers really is, initially it will be a couple of hours to set it up, learn it a bit, but then it's automated. You don't even look at it. And so the first thing is this permission piece, and just slow down and get curious and go, what is the story I have? What's going on here? And so ultimately you want, and I'd love a target for everyone, you first set a profit target for your business. What is the amount of money that you're going to set at that profit? And you fix that. And then you say that profit gets taken out. Yes, it might have tax and other things, but so many people want to avoid tax and they forget to create wealth. Tax is a quality problem. We want to be tax efficient, but don't try and avoid it. Bring it out. Get money out of your business. So set a target. Maybe start off with 10%. What do you need to contribute? What do you need your business to contribute to your life? But then from that, the target ultimately is you want to have 10% of all money that comes into your life going into assets. Now, if your primary income is from a business, you've got other expenses. So that's what I say, set a profit target, and then a minimum of 10% of that profit needs to be going into assets. So maybe start with 100 euros, maybe start with 50 euros, because the key thing is first the discipline rather than the amount, and go, okay, I'm going to commit to that. Forget about the bills that have to be paid. When you say that your freedom is the most important bill and you demonstrate that, something amazing happens in the universe. You find other ways to pay for those other things. There will be the money. So that is where we start.
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. I could just attest to that. For me, the game changer was thinking about the percentage rather than the sum of money, because then when business grows, this percentage automatically becomes bigger, but it's like fixed percentage. And now I'm playing with, maybe let's make this percentage bigger. Like, how can we make it even more lean organization and cut the costs and get that percentage towards the asset drawer? But, it was starting with really low numbers, like low sums. But when I did get this habit of constantly every month putting money aside, it's like it's absent in my mind. I treat it as a tax that I pay to myself rather than to tax office. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love
the question. Yeah. Ladies, if you have a question, so just quick up, because I see, Anne, you're really struggling with the throat, and there's a lot of training still coming up, so we don't want to make voiceless.
Come on in. I'll be there. I'm doing live Q&A every second day between the trainings. You've got the amazing Agnieszka here. And it's just, one of the things I'm sure you find in your business, it is such a pleasure and a privilege to be the guide. And I'm so grateful through my journey and finding that there is a way to have the end. Yeah. I've been financially free now for 18 years. Yep, 18 years. Thank heavens for soft lighting on Zoom.
We love those filters, right?
Yeah. And, and that's through ups and downs in markets and businesses inside. And I'm so excited about what you're all doing. And I just know that when we as women, big-hearted women who've got inspiration, who understand that there's so much that can be done and created when we get this aspect of our life sorted, it is extraordinary what we can then create and the magic that then opens up. And so it is just such a joy to be your guide, Agnieszka, and I hope to meet a lot of you and more of you and come and explore what the world of wealth is about.
Yeah, thank you so much. And ladies, if you have questions, that's like a last moment to have Anne answer it. Of course, we're going to stay a little bit to wrap up the conversation. But if you have questions, just please write them on the chat. I can help you to translate. Or if you have it in English, you can jump on live. And just to sum it up, there's just also this one thought, because we are here rather as entrepreneurs. That's like this community I'm surrounded with. But also what I see with my husband, he's a corporate worker, and he's got like a fixed salary. but this freedom that he got from this part of his salary being, drawn towards building our financial freedom, that also gives this idea of one day I'm not dependent on a salary. One day I can just, work for fun instead of working because I have to pay the bills. So, playing with this concept that there is this moment in time that we can actually plan when it's going to happen and work towards that goal. That's something really liberating. And, ladies, I see a lot of, I see Amel, that's my mastermind buddy, Amel. I'm so glad you can come here. Amel, I know that you will probably also have questions, so we'll wrap up with Amel's questions. Amel is my friend from Mastermind Group, also international entrepreneur.
Hello,
so
Amel.
glad you're here. Hello, Amel.
Hi, Anne. Hi, Agnieszka and Vandan, everyone.
Hello,
So-
Amel. In case you have questions, because we know Anne needs to go and wrap
Yeah.
up, but that's really a nice time that you joined in, because you probably have like a certain question. We discuss finances a lot in our mastermind.
Yeah, we do
right?
talk a lot about that. First of all, thank you so much for organizing this. And Anne, thank you so much for your great insights.
Oh,
Very
such-
motivating to take ownership of our freedom. And I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and make it short, but what I realized, I was thinking of investing at some point. I'm like, I don't have the time to learn and all of that. So I started looking at what other shortcuts. And I was like, let me go to investment fund. And I realized that actually I learned a lot by just going in meetings with investment funds. That was already a great way to get into the fire. But then I realized they want so much money that all my eggs will be in the same basket. And that's also dangerous.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
that's when I felt like, oh, I actually need to take the time to learn how to do it. But my question to you is, like, I saw that there were some apps and artificial intelligence like apps that actually manage the money for you. You can put in as much as you can or want. Is that something you recommend or not?
I love this question. And I love the fact that you said, I don't have the time to learn, so I'm going to go to the investment funds and learn. I mean, that is often that's private investors, different side. It's a whole, and there's a lot to also cover there and learn. And as you say, it really can be very eggs in one basket, and private equity funds are actually quite risky. They're what I call top of the pyramid. So we've also got to understand how to design our safety and our structure in what we invest in. So the starting of investing, it does not have to be difficult, doesn't have to consume time, is really through an online broker, which could be an app, investing in these simple products called index trackers. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if most of you are in Europe, but the main big brokerage house, which is low cost for index trackers, is Desjardins in Europe, across just about every European Union country. But they're all over the world. And here's the thing, we don't have to also, we can get caught into, well, maybe an AI can do it better inside. The reality is actively managed funds, fund managers, the whole industry that is quite frankly pillaged from the average person's sphere for years and years and years. There's a reason the financial industry has every box on every sports stadium. It has, because they've made money from people's fear and ignorance that this is difficult and confusing, or we can't be bothered to learn it. So most people want to outsource their freedom. Then we go to that financial advisor, but we've really got to get nobody's going to look after our freedom as well as us, one, and two, it isn't complicated. So be careful, my darling, of getting into complexity. Mm-hmm. We can get caught, especially entrepreneurs. We like the ideas of the new things. What about the newest technology? And we can go, oh, well, that's been there for years and years, and we can throw the baby out with the bathwater. So I want to say to you, can you let it be simple? Can you let it be simple? Say, hey, simple online brokerage platform, open it up, fixed amount of money goes in. I'll just find 3 or 4 index trackers, which give me the broad market. And I will invest in that. An index tracker basically just buys the top companies in different sectors. So you own the top companies. You don't need a fund manager. You don't need AI to try and stock pick. In fact, stock picking generally does not work. Time and time it's going, buying the best companies, holding them, reinvesting, creating up a system that automates this. Really, it's about consistency, which we know in business as well. We have to catch ourselves wanting to do the next, whatever anyone's doing. And actually, are we showing up and being consistent? Well, wealth and money really responds to consistency. So, but a lot of those, there's more and more of those platforms, right from Robinhood or to Monzo, many that what they're actually investing in is index trackers. but you don't, that can be, apologies.
Yeah, and if you need a moment, I just add a little thing that
Index trackers, let it be simple
yeah.
and get on with it.
Yeah, because Amel, that's a beautiful question, and Anna also sometimes talk about, and that could be answer for Kasia your question as well, because I remember you told us, Anna, that we are caught onto this thinking that there's this one thing that if we follow, that's going to be this big shot that will kind of build our wealth. And what I did discover in Financial Freedom University, that even with those index trackers, it's not about the more money we have and we just put it there and that then it's going to grow like crazy. It was even if you have a lot, you put it into chunks and you pay it in like every month or every, like throughout the long period of time, because then you don't have this risk that you will buy at this nice price or low price or high price. It kind of evens it up. So just like Kasia said, do you have any crashes in investments or something? You don't get to be so susceptible to those crashes when you like spread the investment in time and you make it boring and beautiful. Like you just choose the index tracker and you kind of put money in every month, even if that's a little amount of money, but it goes on into that period of time, even if it crashes and then goes back again. And
you buy more for your money when it crashes, but we don't use that language. That's the language of the markets. They love that sort of side. Markets go up and down. When it's having a sale, you get more for your money.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful. Thank you, Anne, for this answer, because I
pleasure. Sorry I have to go, but I hope to see many of you in the world of wealth. Love you, Ness. It's been just wonderful.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you for being here with us. Ladies, we're going to wrap up and stay just for a second. I know that Anne was barely speaking at the end, and still she has to deliver all those trainings. So I'm really glad, Amel, that you joined. Ladies, you have a chance to meet my mastermind buddy, Amel, who's doing beautiful work for, used to do the work only for expat partners, but now she's doing the work for people all around the world. Amel, maybe you want to just quickly, introduce yourself. We're going to be wrapping up and finishing this meeting. In case, ladies, anybody wants to join on camera and leave the, intro and a couple of words about yourself, the last chance. Amel,
oh my God. Thank you so much, Agnieszka. And this was so good. I feel like so privileged to be here, and you have such a beautiful community and you can serve them with so much wisdom is amazing. So I'm happy to be part of this. I wish I could speak Polish, but maybe one day. And so real quick about me, my name is Amel. I call myself a global citizen. I've been raised and grown up in many countries. But originally I come from Algeria, and right now I live in Vienna. And I am a business and marketing coach. And I like to say that I help my clients be ambitious and make an impact without sacrifices.
Yeah.
I'm all about aligning your business with your lifestyle. So I help either people leave their corporate jobs to start their businesses, but a business that's aligned with their priorities, or those who already have a business, they make money, but they are spread too thin and they just feel like they're working for their business instead of their business working for them. And it's very much related to the topic of today, I guess, is also making sure that your business works for you and brings you the revenue and the freedom you need instead of you having to juggle all the time. So that's basically what I do.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amel. And ladies, I'm so privileged because it turned out to be a really intimate meeting. Of course, we're recording that. That's why I wanted for you to be introduced as well. Of course, the recording, you will find it on YouTube, but I will also send out the email. Plus, we have the chat, and I'm so glad that you've been posting your email link. So Amel, feel free to, post in your link. I will gather all those links, all those, information about you, and send it over as a note with the recording from today's meeting. So you can come back to that, maybe find that person that, posted something interesting for you. So that's going to be this wrap up. Just give me some time. It's going to come out probably tomorrow. And for today, I'm inviting you to this training. Obviously, I'm going to paste the link. You already have it on your email, but obviously, if in case you're not yet signed up, the energy of Anne. She's like giving it all, like on the behalf of her throat, really suffering. But that's what I love about her. She puts crocheting all together with, talking about the cryptocurrencies with that, funny mood. she makes learning about finances and how to manage it so fun that it comes in naturally. It doesn't come like a hard work. That's why I invite you to, join her free trainings. Of course, they are all for free, but of course they are restricted in time, so they're going to disappear. So take advantage of that. In case you needed some more info on the Financial Freedom University, I'm in, but you don't have to go. But in case you have any questions, feel free to ask as well. Ladies, thank you so much that you've been on the video, not making me load the heavy lifting for the meeting today. I was
Thank
a
you
bit
for making this happen.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you, ladies. Let's do this. Like, I keep fingers crossed for your financial journey. Let's do it together. It's going to be way easier to have people to discuss it. And in case you have those ambitious plans, just like Wanda with the business and with building your financial freedom, I keep my fingers crossed for your new plans. Let's stay in touch. Thank you, ladies, for today.